Alright, so let's get this out of the way. I know exactly what you're thinking. Mystic, didn't you make a video just like this, like a little over a year ago when Scarlet and Violet first came out? And yeah, I did. But let me explain. I went back and watched it recently, and I realized I was making some rather questionable decisions. There's some Pokemon on there that I couldn't tell you why I put them there today, like Rapska. So consider this as an update, or a remaster if you will. And the only one I will ever do, because this team is just definitely better than what I was cooking up back then in the olden days. Real quick too, I'm not going to be using Annihilape, Kingambit, or Tauros, just specifically Paldea and Mons. Oh, I'm also going to be mentioning TMs in this video a lot, so I'll leave a video in the description below telling you where to get them all. Plus, there's a lot of them you can find across Paldea and even in Kitakami. Before we begin though, I have a lo-fi music channel where I'm currently working on a book involving this special character Luna. So if you're interested in some chill tracks to study/relax to, while also learning more about this character through the power of lo-fi, consider checking out Luna's world in the description below. But with that said, let's get started. Yeah, we're picking Fuecoco, no questions asked here. Skeledirge is the overall best starter, and it'll do the most in your playthrough out of the main three. If you could start off with a protein cat, that would be a different story. But out of all three of them, accounting base abilities, Skeledirge is actually insane. While it may be the slowest of the three, it also snowballs the hardest, with Torch Song constantly making it more and more powerful. Combine this with stuff like its excellent bulk, Shadow Ball pretty early, and then stuff like Will-O-Wisp, Earth Power. This Pokemon will have you set for your run, no questions asked. It's also particularly good at making clock noises and chasing down one-handed pirates. If you were looking for an early game carry, then say no more, because Pawmot may be one of the greatest early game carries in history. The fact that you can evolve it right from Pawmo to Pawmot the moment it evolves into Pawmo by taking 1,000 consecutive steps and then leveling it up is actually pretty nuts. Its level up learn set is also better than Pawmo's, so there's no actual real downside to this whatsoever. Also, because of the fact that you are the move reminder in this game, the moment that you get it, you can make it remember Wild Charge, which is a base 90 power move really early on. Revival Blessing on evolution if you don't want to use items, access to powerful attacks like Ice Punch and Brick Break, and then access to close combat and Double Shock later in the game. This Pokemon is probably just one of the best Pokemon you can use in general. Terra Electric Double Shock can probably brute force through any obstacle that isn't a ground type. It's fast, it's strong, it's very easy to get your hands on, and alongside Skeledirge, it can just blitz through most things. But we got two ground weaknesses, don't we? We need to fix that. Luckily, we can get the adorable Smoliv pretty early on. Sure, it takes a while to get to Doliv, but hey, the wait is worth it. Why is it worth it? Because not only is it a ground resist, which is something this team kind of needs, but you know how your Fuecoco can carry you through the first few gyms? Well, what it can't carry you through is Iono's Mismagius. But, funny enough, Doliv can. Not only is Eviolite obtainable by beating 7 trainers in South Province Area 5, which makes it pretty bulky, but also, due to its normal and grass typing, you're immune to Ghost and you resist electricity. Ghost and electric attacks are the only moves that her Mismagius has. Your Doliv can 1v1 it. Or, if you're willing to play lame, you can just keep switching between Doliv and a Volt Absorb Pawmot. But you do that if you have free time and feel like tormenting a bot. Arboliva, for when you get it at level 38, is excellent thanks to Seed Sower, buffing up its Giga Drains and making it incredibly hard to kill, all while destroying whatever is in front of it. Stuff like Titan Dondozo and Rika are going to regret ever attacking this bad boy. And it's an excellent backup plan against Kofu if Pawmot somehow fumbles. It actually has a strange amount of synergy with Pawmot and Skeledirge, being able to swap into their weaknesses for the most part. It's actually pretty awesome. You know what else is awesome? Dazzling Gleam and Earth Power for coverage. And if you can get it, Synthesis and Strength Sap for excellent egg moves. And for those who don't like that we can't use Arboliva until level 38, remember that it could be worse. If Pokemon stuck to realism and not levels, we'd be waiting 3 to 7 years for Arboliva instead. I love low kicks so much. Let it be known. This is one of the coolest bug types in all of Pokemon, and for that alone, it's on the team. And if that's not enough, not only is Nimble early as heck in the game and very easy to find east of Mesa Goza near the South Province Pokemon Center, but you get low kicks at level 24, where it learns a base 80 power attack on evolution and can be reminded low kick instantly. Just lunge, low kick, and assurance is enough to carry you through the early game. And then later, when you get first impression, and yeah, Terra Bug first impression is incredible. Plus, you also get Sucker Punch and Axe Kick too. Low kicks becomes near unstoppable. After a Swords Dance, it is unstoppable. I nearly swept Arvin with the low kicks 10 levels below his entire team after one Swords Dance. No healing items required. It was pretty spectacular. Low kicks is particularly great at buddying up with Pawmont to be the fully evolved carry while you wait for Crocolar, Dolev, and the next 2 members to catch up. Look, Steel Fairy is the best typing in the game. And yeah, its attack is low, but the Gigaton hammer it slings around has such a ridiculously ludicrous base power that it doesn't matter, especially after a Swords Dance. Not to mention, being found in most ruins in Paldea makes it pretty easy to find last I checked. Sure, Tinkatuff isn't all that appealing, but once you hit level 38 and get Tinkaton, it takes you places. A set of Swords Dance, Play Rough, Gigaton Hammer, and Protect will get you through anything that isn't a fire or ground type. Why Protect? Because Gigaton Hammer cannot be used twice in a row. And so, the plan is simple. Gigaton Hammer, use Protect. Gigaton Hammer, use Protect. The NPCs don't switch out or set up or punish Protect most of the time, so this strategy is incredibly safe in a playthrough. Just don't actually leave it in on a Corviknight. I know it's tempting, but you literally have Skeledirge. Just use that instead. Unless you want to get disappointed when you see that Smackdown doesn't do as much damage as the Pokedex describes. You think that if Tinkaton was allowed to bring the boulders it launches into battle, it would be an OU staple. Better question, why doesn't Gigaton Hammer do super effective damage against Steel when Tinkatuffs and Tinkatons are the scribe that take on Bisharps and Corviknights? I ask these questions because they're necessary, and I need Game Freak to hear me out on my Tinkaton balance patch. Sometimes you really need an ocean man to take you by the hand, and take you to the land that he understands. And said ocean man I am choosing has the base stats of basically slacking without any of the drawbacks, and can be found in the South or West Paldean seas. Yes, having to switch out does suck, but given that Palafin gets flip turn on evolution at level 38, assuming you have friends in the Union lobby with you to begin with, and Pawmont gets Volt Switch and Low Kicks gets U-Turn, which I brought up now because it made more sense to you than earlier, you have ways to get Palafin in and out of a match without too much issue, so it can transform into its hero mode and save your run from any potentially scary fire types. First though, I want to quickly disclaim that Finizen will actually be useless until you evolve it. With the exception of one niche, it has in exactly one fight. Finizen has Dive early. This means that against Mela, who this team kind of potentially struggles with otherwise, you can unironically stall out her Torkoal's Drought with Dive, and then try to take on the stupid car. With that said, the payoff to carrying it around and getting a friend to be in the Union lobby with you is basically having a legendary on the team. And said legendary has Jet Punch, Flip Turn, and Aqua Tail as powerful early water attacks. And then for TMs, where do I even start? Bulk Up, Drain Punch, Ice Beam, Ice Punch, etc. Palafin can do it all. He truly is my hero. Also, Palafin is literally All Might. What's not to love? With that said, if you don't want to put in the effort to use Finizen and get a friend to help you with Palafin, use Garganacl, Dondozo, or Tatsugiri instead. Those are all pretty good for your run. And yeah, this time for sure, This is the definitive team for Scarlet and Violet that is entirely new Pokemon, and not like old Pokemon or some version of an older Pokemon. I wanted to perfectly craft the correct team of Gen 9 Mons to take you through Paldea. With that said, rather than just yapping about the team, I'm gonna go take it for a spin myself. And then if I lose to Mela for any reason, I'm just gonna keep a Darkspawn on hand. Just in case.